Since China resumed control of Hong Kong nearly 2 decades ago under one country, two systems governing formula, the island of 7 million people has enjoyed wide autonomy over its government. But when Beijing said publicly that it wants to begin screening candidates for city leaders, pro-democracy activists launched a more than 2-month-long Occupy demonstration in the streets near government headquarters. After clashes with police turned violent over recent days, protest leaders have agreed to turn themselves into authorities, but this decision has put them at odds with their student followers over whether or not demonstrators should disband.
For the sake of the occupiers' safety, for the sake of our original intention of love and peace, as we prepare to surrender, we freely urge the students to retreat.
I think that announcement was quite nonsense because, as I said, we've been through a lot, and I don't think we should now pack up the things and leave now.
Victoria Hui testified about the standoff between protesters and the government last month before the U.S. Congressional Executive Commission on China. She's a political scientist at the University of Notre Dame, and she joins us from Notre Dame, Indiana. Dr. Hui, welcome to Arise America. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
So the three main leaders of this protest have called for a retreat. They've told the students that it might not be safe, that they should go home and they should become a part of society and try to affect change that way. Just based on the comments that we heard in this introduction, what's the likelihood that the students will heed this call to retreat?
It seems that the students really don't want to retreat. Now, one thing it is important that we've been seeing a lot of press coverage on the disagreements among the protesters, and especially between leaders and then among different leader organizations. It is important to keep in mind that Hong Kong people are pretty united in the demand for genuine universal suffrage. They disagree over tactics and strategies, and this is what we're seeing. So what happens is that the leadership is essentially formed by three organizations: the Occupy Central leaders, the three people who just said that they're going to turn themselves in and calling students to withdraw. The second, then we also have the Hong Kong Federation of Students, form of college students, and they were the people who actually call for protesters to surround the central government offices last Sunday. And then many people were just basically beaten down to bloody faces by the police. And because that action failed, and so scholarism, form of teenage high school students, three of them just started an indefinite hunger strike yesterday, and they said that they're going to continue until the government agrees to talk to them. Mm-hmm. So there are different strategies and tactics, and people don't agree over that. And at the same time, it is also important to see that I think I've been actually writing on my blog that a lot of protesters on the street, they believe that if they retreat, and I think that is a very bad word because, you know, when it comes to withdrawal, it can be tactical, it can be strategic, and you're just trying to plan for the next action. But for a lot of protesters in Hong Kong, they feel that the only thing they have is, you know, mass action gathering in the same place, right, so that they can put pressure on the government.
Let me jump in there, Dr. Hui. I'm sorry, because we're running out of time. We're just down to seconds. What's the real likelihood of violence on the part of the government in response to continued demonstration by the protesters? I don't know if they're in danger of a repeat of Tiananmen Square. That seems extreme. But this threat of violence that the leaders are warning the students about, how do you assess the viability or the possibility of that violence?
It is very high. Because after what the police did in Mong Kok, beating up people, even passers-by, and also the other night when protesters were trying to surround central government offices. And the government looks like they're willing to basically use whatever police force necessary to clear the occupied sites.
Dr. Victoria Hui, thank you so much for your time and perspective. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.